Now I would like to welcome Esther, and we are very pleased to welcome you here, and we are very looking forward to your webinar. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you very much for the introduction. When I start sharing my screen, maybe Lucy or Lenka can help me if there are any questions in the chat, because when I'm sharing my screen, I can't see the chat anymore. So if there is some questions I have to answer immediately, please let me know, and then you can interrupt me. Then I can stop with the presentation. And also interrupt if it's too quick or if it's not understandable. Okay? I'm Esther de Leeuw. I'm member of the Dutch Information Committee, who is involved with the breeding of Nederlandse Kooikerhondjes. And I'm in the club for 25 years now, and I'm also breeding with my own Kooikerhondjes and Labrador retrievers. And I'm always very enthusiastic when there are people like you who wants to hear all the news about the new breeding tools. So I'm really pleased that you asked me for this. I don't know if the screen share is already or if I have to. Yeah, now it's here.
Yeah, it's okay, Esther.
Do you see my screen now? Population manager, healthy breeding. We start with this one. Population management is necessary to maintain our breeds for now and for in the future. And it was about 15 years ago. There was a popular news item, and it was called "The End of the Purebred Dogs." And that was not a really nice title for a documentary. And during the last years, many health issues in breeding were trending topics here in the Netherlands, but I think also in Europe, as I heard. And in collaboration with many veterinarians and scientific researchers in Utrecht University, but also the international breeding clubs, we found many genetic mutations in different dog breeds. And we have also seen a lot of successes in this one. You can think about the ENM. You can think about the terrible disease polymyositis, but also the epilepsy that was decreased a lot in our breed. And now we have a very new technical options like Zooeasy, and now the development of Fit2Breed and Zoom, and together with a team of enthusiastic dog people from over the world, we would like to make healthy breeding a collective and hot topic in the future. But we see sometimes there is a little bit of resistance among breeders to use all these tools. And breeders have the duty to make responsible combinations and inform new puppy owners about healthy and mentality in a new Kooikerhondje. But the main goal is, how can we help breeders and dog clubs who struggle with all these new healthy breeding programs? And tonight I hope to inform you about the need to the use of new breeding things and see what we can do about it together. The current situation in Kooikerhondjes is that we have good international cooperations from all over the world. We do a registration from pedigree information in our Zooeasy and Club Register, maintained by the VHNK. We have some exterior information. We have also mental information. And we do a lot of DNA testing with our breeding animals, like ENM, von Willebrand, and polymyositis. We do a lot of clinical screenings, like patella, the eyes, HD, and we monitor the population. But that's all monitoring phenotype. That's what we see, and that's all based on pedigree information. And with progressive insights and new possibilities, we start with the genotyping of our dogs. And how can we use all these tools for good population management and for healthy breeding? With the development of Fit2Breed, we can show breeders that all the new options we have, so the combination with pedigree and the new genotyping, that we can make a combination of it, and we can make a breeding tool good for breeders. And before we take a look at the exact program, it's necessary to understand a little few theoretic frames. So we go through that. I think you see here reports of two test reports. One is from Embark in USA, and I guess many of you have done it maybe. And on the right side, you see the VHL genetic reports. And there are a lot of commercial companies who offer genotyping, also with different reports. And maybe you know Wisdom Health or My Dog DMA. We would like to have it all collected in Fit2Breed. But these commercial companies have all their own rules and all their own type of collecting information. So the reason that we choose in Fit2Breed for Embark and for VHL, like by the Combi Breed, is that we would like to have the importance that we would like to have the tests what are valuable for our breed. So only the relevant DNA tests are in this genotyping. Like you see here, we have the Embark, and you see in the Embark, we see a lot of things. And maybe you also have heard about the IVDD, specific in Finland, they are looking for it. But this type we see in the Kooikerhondje, but it's not breed specific. So that was the reason we don't put it in the Combi Breed packets. We only have the DNA tests that are relevant for the Kooikerhondje, and that's only the 3 with H&M, polymyositis, and von Willebrand. And with all the testing, we would like to test to use and not to exclude, and that's a different way of thinking about breeding than we have done for a lot of years. With all our breeding regulations, we are really known that we test the dogs and exclude the dogs. And with the possibilities of Fit2Breed, where we can zoom in on genotyping, we can test to use and not to exclude, because we want to keep our genetic diversity, and that is shown in Fit2Breed. Let's zoom in on that genetic diversity to understand why the DNA tests are in a report and the genetic diversity we can't have in a report. That's a question we have a lot of it. With the Fit2Breed, we use genetic markers like SNP. And then we can see also what is with the inbreeding. And when the inbreeding is rising, is going up, the healthy, the fertility, and the longevity is going down. So with the genotyping, we want to monitor the variety in our breed, and we can calculate the genetic coefficient of inbreeding. And that's much different than what we have done before with only pedigree coefficient of inbreeding. And we want to use as much variety as possible. We want to do matchmaking. It's like Tinder for dogs, we call it with a joke. And we would like to have a track on new genetic mutations. And maybe in the future, if it's necessary, it can be a guidance for our outcross project. Because when we know what's genetically in there and what are the weaknesses of our Kooikerhondje, we can have track on it. And Utrecht University can give us a guidance how to use that if we want to do some outcross. And to check on that, I want to zoom in about genetic variety. And this is a small example. You might all know that we have in our DNA, we have genetic markers on a chromosome. And this is a simple example of a dog who has 38 chromosomes. And in each region, we can see a mutation. When you see the green, you have homozygous wild type. Doesn't matter which disease. If you see orange, it's heterozygous, and with red, it's homozygous mutants. Maybe this is known for you. already. When we look at this picture, you see a small example how we can look at it genetically. You see there are 38 chromosomes of a dog, and on each chromosome there is maybe 1 or sometimes 2 mutations. That's quite normal, and sometimes we would like to have a specific mutation because we have a Kooikerhondje, so we would like a Kooikerhondje to look like a Kooikerhondje. So therefore it's quite normal that we have on several chromosomes we have mutations. And if there are mutations without causing a disease, it's not a problem. But when there is more inbreed, you have more risk of a mutation coming from a common ancestor. And when you have like that, see how this is working, you see also maybe a disease mutation is coming from two sides of a common ancestor. And when you go further on with the breeding, you see the mutation is spreading in your pedigree. And when it's a danger mutation, you have more risk when your coefficient of inbreeding is quite high. And for a Kooikerhondje, at the moment, we know it's quite high. The inbreeding coefficient of a Kooikerhondje is around 33%. And that's quite high. So there is more risk of harmful mutations. I have to click on it a little bit further. So that's the problem with inbreed. And I think you might all know these pictures because you have seen Fit2Breed earlier, or you have seen it in Zooeasy. This is only to illustrate how inbreed is working. Inbreed is the cause of many inherited diseases, like polymyositis, like epilepsy, like some kidney problems. And when you have 2 copies of a DNA mutation from a common ancestor, you have more inbreed. And for example, when you have the inbreed for a brother and sister, you have 25%, and the average of a Kooikerhondje is 33%. So that means it's quite high. But only by looking to the coefficient of inbreeding when you want to breed with dogs, that's not what you're going to do when you use the SNPs, when you use a genotyping. Then we are going to look at the chromosome. And when we see the chromosome of an example of a Kooikerhondje with inbreeding of 27%, so it's a little bit lower than the average, you can see how Fit2Breed is going to look at our Kooikerhondjes and how it's going to calculate this in the program. And when you see the orange regions are all homozygous. So that means there's no variety in that part of the chromosome of the dog anymore. So when you have a dog, for example, on chromosome 32, you see there is a lot homozygous regions. And we know homozygous regions, that's not really good. We want to make combinations of more heterozygous regions because then you are increasing the diversity and you want to maintain the diversity. Then a small overview about the population analysis in the Nederlandse Kooikerhondje. We see the average of the Kooikerhondje, this is the pink region. That's the average. That's around 33%. But we see when we look at the genotyping, we see there are also some dogs in the black dots. So we are looking for the black dots. And when we are inbreeding in a close population like we do with Kooikerhondjes, the inbreeding coefficient won't rise again. It will be like it is to be, but it has to be stable. And we see the last years, the inbreeding coefficient of the Kooikerhondje that was rather stable because it was, there were a lot of countries who increased their breeding animals. So there were a lot of dogs used for breeding, and that was the reason that the coefficient of inbreeding was quite stable the last years. And if we zoom in on the coefficient of inbreeding, we are used to look at pedigrees. But then the calculations are based on paper pedigree offsprings. And that's valid if there are no mistakes and if all the offsprings has the same coefficient of inbreeding. In a closed population, coefficient of inbreeding will always go up. That's the same with the genetic, but the genetic coefficient of inbreeding, that's based on the SNPs. I've seen in the example before, that's based on the SNPs, and then you can see there is variety in offsprings. So all the offsprings in a pedigree coefficient of inbreeding has the same number. When you look at the genetics, there is a calculation for a single dog. So not all the dogs have exact 50% from the father and 50% for the mother. So compare it with your sister and your brother, you know, not everyone has exact 50%. So that's why we have a preference of genetics when we calculate the coefficient of inbreeding. But because with the genetic coefficient of inbreeding, we can evaluate the breeding. And we can also develop new research methods. And small differences, that's not really a problem. So that's a little bit background why the genetic diversity is measured by genotyping and not only by pedigree data. How is Fit2Breed doing that? Fit2Breed is looking at heterozygosity. So not only coefficient of inbreeding, but Fit2Breed is looking into the SNPs from the genotyping. And Fit2Breed is looking to the heterozygous regions. So that are not the orange ones. The orange ones are homozygous. But the gray ones, that's heterozygous. And in this example, we see this dog is on chromosome 23, totally heterozygous, also on 34. So if we want to look in a genetic way, we have to look it on the specific chromosomes. We make a comparison between Kooikerhondje and a Doberman and a mixed breed. And you see with a mixed breed, with a coefficient of inbreeding of 3%, you have a lot of heterozygous regions. So a lots of heterozygosity. With the Kooikerhondje, you see a little bit more orange. And with the Doberman, with a quite high coefficient of inbreeding, you see a lot of homozygous regions. So this dog don't have so many diverse genes to spread to the offsprings. And how will it make, because that's the most difficult thing to understand with the Fit2Breed system, how is it possible that if you have a Kooikerhondje with a quite high coefficient of inbreeding, that you can still make a combination? Because when we look at our old way of breeding, we say, oh, we have to breed a coefficient of inbreeding as low as possible. But in this system, we want to keep track on the genetic diversity. So we not only look at the coefficient of inbreeding. And when you look in this example, you see chromosome 23 in Kooikerhondje number 1 is has some orange parts, so homozygous. But this Kooikerhondje, you have heterozygous regions. Now I have to click and see if it's working. Yeah. You see the comparison on number 4 here. This is also a homozygous region. But if you make a combination with Kooikerhondje 2, there's enough gray, means heterozygosity, who the Kooikerhondje can spread on to the puppies. So this is how Fit2Breed is looking to our Kooikerhondjes. And then you can also understand that that's not that it's really hard to understand that we can't do that without a program, and we need to have a program for this. Maybe you have seen this example before in Fit2Breed. This shows the mean, the Kooikerhondje by the orange, the pink one, and the blue one is with mixed breed. So you see Raka in this example, he is around here. So this is only an example. I'll explain that a little bit later on more. Then we go on with the kinship, because that's really important. Kinship is based on pedigrees. And when you base it on pedigrees, the pedigree have to be correct. And when you have kinship based on genetic markers, you can make calculation based on SNP markers. And when there are more Kooikerhondjes genotyped, maybe you have seen that in the future, when we started with Fit2Breed, there were not so many Kooikers genotyped. And as your club also have done a lot of mass genotyping, you see more Czech Kooikerhondjes are genotyped. So you see that calculation and specific the line of in the schedule where your Kooikerhondje is located. That is a little bit more valuable, and also that will vary when there are more Kooikerhondjes in the database. And Fit2Breed is recalculate this with every new update. So Fit2Breed is really looking at the individual dogs and look to the relatedness between the individuals. So not only the high coefficient of inbreeding, but look to the relatedness, to the diversity. And maybe this will illustrate it. We have a rather high inbreeding coefficient on a Doberman, and we have 27% of a Kooikerhondje. But the kinship between a Kooikerhondje and a Doberman is 0. So in our Kooikerhondjes we won't have it, but maybe that gives a good illustration on the difference between coefficient of inbreeding and kinship, relatedness. Then we go back to Fit2Breed. If there are small questions, please let me know. Not for the moment, I think. Then we go on. Then we go on to Fit2Breed. It's made in collaboration with the Dutch Kooiker Club, with all the breeders, also the Expertise Center for the University Utrecht, but also with a lot of support from breeders and breeding clubs, because we need to have the input from all the breeders and breeding clubs by giving all the information of your dogs to make this system successful. And the goals of Fit2Breed are maintain the genetic diversity. Like I showed in the example before, we have to look for the gray spots on the chromosome of our dogs and make new combinations of that. It can decrease the incidence of hereditary diseases. And how can it do that? It will be decrease the incidence of hereditary diseases because you have more diverse regions which you will combine. And therefore, it will keep a Kooikerhondje as healthy as possible. The recommendations you see in Fit2Breed with the orange or maybe the red warnings, they are based on health information and scientific research. So it's not based on breeding rules, because the breeding rules, they can change in every country a little bit. Also, because of the kennel club regulations in some countries are different. And we also want to be aware that breeders can have their own responsibility in making Kooikerhondjes, because we are not breeding numbers, we are breeding Kooikerhondjes, and we not only have to be aware of inherited diseases, we also have to be aware of mentality, and we want to look our Kooikerhondje be a Kooikerhondje. So that's why when we look into the system, you see maybe you will have a really long list for your dog as recommendations for male dogs. That will give you as a breeder also a little bit of your own responsibility and your own wishes you can choose of when you want to breed your dogs. I will go on with the breeding tool. I have some slides to explain what's in here, what's in the system, and then I was planning to do some online presentation immediately in the system, so then we can also see how the system is working. We have a summary page, and on the summary page you can see of course, the name, the number, date of birth, mother and father. And if available, you can also see an owner email. And that will be necessary if you have a male dog and you want to have it available for suitable bitches. So that's why we ask the owner email. So only with permission of the owner, we will publish the email. You also see on the right side, you see the DNA test results from all the monogenetic diseases like ENM and von Willebrand. And you see the polymyositis. And when we go to live version, you see also the explanation of it. We have the breeding tool. You have a pedigree chart. And if your dog is genotyping, you see also where your dog is on the schedule. I will show that later. If a dog is genotyping, you can see the mean of the Kooikerhondjes from the genetic coefficient of inbreeding is around the blue one. And in this example, the black one is a little bit more to the right. But this won't say that a little bit more to the right or a little bit more to the left, that's good or false. It only gives you an idea, hey, where is my dog? Is it less diverse than the mean for the moment? Because this mean will change when there are more dogs in the system who are genotyped. Then we can come to a pedigree, a breeding, pedigree matchmaking. And then we enter a name of dog and we see potential partners. Pedigree matchmaking, if there is no genotyping available, but we prefer, as I said before, the genotype matchmaking. The genotyping matchmaking list is based on kinship with a female. So it's not looking if you have a dog with an individual high coefficient of inbreeding. That won't mean that you can't breed a dog, but then the system is looking for suitable males based on kinship, based on relatedness. And the length of the suggested dogs, that will vary by female, because you can make a selection on it. And it also will tell you where is your dog located in the whole genotyping dogs. So the targets of the breeding tabs are a selection of male dogs based on kinship. And we want to have male dogs with less kinship than the female. Then we will keep on the genetic diversity we have in our breed. And it's based on that we use as much as different male dogs as possible. And the selection is also based on health. So if you have a male who has autoimmune disease or has for example, is a mutant for polymyositis, then the list is only give you 3 dogs. There are also untested dogs in the list, because we want to widen the population, not only choose the male dog who winning the shows, but we want to give breeders the opportunity to have new male dogs. And we want to stimulate the breeding with less kinship in the population, so that the coefficient of inbreeding stays stable and is not rising anymore. And if you don't want to choose about a male in the breeding list, you can also make your own test mating. And maybe there are people here tonight who are also using the Zooeasy system. In Zooeasy, we also have a test mating system. And before we go to the live demonstration, one question, do we need another breeding tool? Fit2Breed can't prevent spreading. new hereditary diseases, and it can't improve the population, but we can pick distantly related males with suitable kinship. To improve the breed, we have to, unrelated dogs must be introduced in the population, and therefore Fit2Breed is also developing an outcross module to support that maybe in the future. Because when we look at this one, you have seen it before, it is stable the last years, but Fit2Breed can't increase decrease the coefficient of inbreeding. It only can stay that it will be stable, and we want to pick up the diversity dogs we have. Okay, now I have to stop sharing my screen, and I have to share the other screen. Are there any questions so far? Maybe we can do that when I change the screens.
Maybe I have one question. If you have the last slide with the co-breeding coefficients, there are a lot of spots on the 0 line. Do you know which dogs are there?
Yeah, that are the outcross dogs who are not really purebred Kooikerhondje. So there are some, this picture is made out of Fit2Breed, and there are also some dogs in this, there are some mistakes in this picture, because there, I will show you, so maybe that's easier when I share my screen again. Now you see it again?
No. No.
This one, you mean this picture, yeah. You mean, why is it possible there are 0? Because it's not possible. These are some dogs. There were some Italian dogs. Maybe you remember there were some Italian dogs where no offspring, there were no father and no mother known. And it was by aankeuring. What's the right English word for it? It was with the father and the mother have been to the show, but the father and mother were not known, and the Kooikerhondje was being pointed as a Kooikerhondje and comes in the breeding like that way. So that's why there is no relatedness with other Kooikerhondjes, because we don't know the father and mother.
Okay.
But this one, that are 3 dogs who are lookalikes without a pedigree, and they are really lookalike. They look like a Kooikerhondje and they are genotyped, but they're not in the breeding population because they have no FCI pedigree. So it's not allowed to breed with them. So you when you look at this picture, you can look at the pink line and the little bit black one, what's around here.
Yeah. Thank you. I was very curious because we saw it in symposium, and I couldn't remember what they were.
Problem. That's always the negative thing when you have an automatically generated report. Then there are also some dogs who you can't really point it out, but it's better to look at the overview of it. Okay, then I stop screening. Other questions? Oh, I see one in the chat, but I can't translate it.
Okay. No, it's not a question. It was Lucy asked them if they want to ask. They can the questions in Czech.
Okay, no problem. Okay, then I have to go to my other screen. And I have to share now my other screen. That's always a little bit tricky one. Share screen, this one. Okay, you see my Fit2Breed screen now?
Yes.
Yeah, okay. I think it's good for the understanding of it to go through the Fit2Breed program, so you have a little bit an idea how the program is built up and what you can do with it. This is the starting up screen, and you can always see here how many times the system is updated. And you see here the data from the phenotyping and the pedigree import that was in January this year. This is with all the information we have on our Zooeasy system. So 2 times a year, you will send information to the Dutch Kooikerhondje Club, and we progress it into our club register, but specific also in our Zooeasy system. And Zooeasy is with registration numbers and phenotyping data, basically for Fit2Breed. Then we have DNA test results. That's updated 25th of March. These are all the DNA tests we will receive from Combi-breed, because the Combi-breed results, DNA test results, will be automatically updated in Fit2Breed. Also, the genotyping import was from 12 March. And you see, this is both coming from VHL, but this date from the genotyping of the SNP profiles is different, because every time you put new genotyping data in, the database has to recalculate some values. Okay, then we go on to the summary page, and I pick out a Czechish one. I don't know if you know the dog, probably you do. If I have to pick another one, please remember me, but I'll pick someone. We see here the name of the dog. We see it's a female. She has 14 offspring. We see a mother and a father. We see an owner's email, and we see also the results. And when you go to the disease, you see what the result means. So that's also different, important to know if you want to have a quick view. Oh, homozygous wild type, that means a free dog, 0 copies of the disease, and a low risk of developing the disease himself. So these are the results of the individual dog. We have no disease status of this dog, and you see a pedigree chart. When you see a pedigree chart, you see also a pedigree coefficient of inbreeding of 0.34. Then you see this dog is not genotyped. The mean of the Kooikerhondje is around here, but maybe there are people who are involved with Fit2Breed for maybe some year or maybe longer. Then you see this mountain of blue genotyping dogs. This will change, and this will be more like a plateau, because there are more Kooikerhondjes in the database. So that was the reason we want to promote the genotyping from our Kooikerhondje dogs. Then we have a better overview what's in our breed. Now I go on to another one. We see here is the offspring, you can see. So if you want to look for another dog, and if you see a black remark here, you can see on this dog there is a black remark, and I can click on it and then I can see the details. Look for the details. Oh, this dog has a renal dysplasia. So when you go to the different dogs, you see here, it's the same as it works in Zooeasy. You see all the remarks there are in the system. And I preferably go to a dog who is genotyped. In Zooeasy, you have to use a wildcard. And the good thing from this system is that you don't need a wildcard. I have to see which dog I have to choose.
I think it was together. Yeah.
If you have something, you can put it in the chat or let me know. I see the chat now. I choose some, maybe you know, this is another Czechish dog. You see here the summary of this dog. And we see this dog is genotyped. So if you have a genotyped dog, you see it in here. Yeah, you don't have a number of it because that's for the working of the program. It's not relevant because this program is not making pedigrees based on individual coefficient of inbreeding. It's making combinations based on kinship to maintain the most diversity we have. And here we see also she has some offsprings already. And with this dog, we can go to breeding. And if we go to breeding, you can put on a selection. And here it says it's a warning. The dog hasn't been tested the last 24 months. But maybe for your breeding regulations, you can do it maybe in 2 years, or only the test results is not in the system. So if you find a remark like this, you always have to ask the breeder, hey, is it true what's in the system? Will it be correct? And now you see on these dogs a genotyping matchmaking. And I have to do like this. So you will see a genotyping list on this dog. And when you see a green, means that the kinship from male and bitch is lower than the population's mean kinship. So this is what we would like to have. We would like to go on with the green dogs, because then we will pick out the most diversity as possible. If you see this mark, it means that maybe this male needs to have 1 or 2 tests before it's ready to use for breeding. When you see this remark, you see this remark means that all the tests, the DNA tests like from Willebrand, A&M, eyes and patella are already done. So this will give you an idea for this female. There are some males I can use. But you also see this is a Dutch dog. Maybe you say, oh, I don't want to go to Holland for breeding. Maybe that's a little bit too far away for the moment. And maybe there are also maybe dogs from Japan or from the United States. And I can imagine that if you want to breed with your bitch, you don't want to go to Holland or to the United States. So then you can make a selection. But first you have to start with what's the list of my dog. In here we see orange warnings. This means that that it's not a suitable male, but that the kinship between male and female is around the population's mean kinship. So with the green one, you will pick up the most diversity as possible, and with the orange one, it doesn't mean that it's bad, but it is around the population's mean kinship. So it won't improve the population, and it won't pick up the best diversity what you would like to have for your breed. Then you want to choose, maybe you want to choose, you see here we have a rather long list of green dogs with this female. But I want to select a country, and I say, oh, I don't want to travel so much. I want to go to Czechia. And then I'm looking to the list, and I see only one male is popping up, only when looking for a kinship. So if you choose a selection, you will always decrease your possibilities of choosing a male. And that's what the system is trying to tell you. If you're making a selection, please note that this bitch has, when you look at kinship, only one male in the system genotype suitable for your bitch. Doesn't mean that the orange one are not suitable. Maybe these ones are also suitable, because when we go to this one, we can see here all the tests are done. It's around mean kinship. So as a breeder, you have the freedom, how we call it, it's kind of freedom. You can choose what you like, because maybe you know this male and you say, he's good, he has no offsprings. But then you will have the warning, this combination has a higher kinship than the average. And when you want to go on with breeding, there's an advice of polymyositis, and the advice of polymyositis testing in offsprings is always given when you breeding with a free dog and a heterozygous dog, or if you go breed with a mutant. But in this system, we say mutant dogs has so polymyositis mutant dogs have so many healthy issues and such a big risk of getting sick or giving the bad genes to the puppies, and it won't lower the allele frequency in the breed, so it won't be advised. So you can always make a test mating, then you see the male dog and you see the warnings. You see for patellar luxation in this combination, you see medium risk, and you will always have medium risk when one of the dogs is patella grade 1. And that's not specific for the Kooikerhondjes, but that's for specific scientific research found out for patellar luxation in all breeds. So that's why the system said it's medium risk, but we have it, we have patellar luxation a lot on our breed. And then you see a pedigree chart, and that's a pedigree chart with the offsprings, but you don't see the coefficient of inbreeding of the new offspring of the puppy. And that's because the genetic coefficient of inbreeding for our puppies will be different. So that's because with the pedigree you have the same, but with the genetic coefficient of inbreeding, you don't have the same coefficient of inbreeding. You can also make test mating yourself, or you can go back to your list again. Then we go back to our list, so we can see the results of different dogs. So please remind that if you're making a selection, and if I make a selection of now, what do I say? Germany, probably, maybe Hungary, Finland, probably. Where do you go for your breeding dogs? So if you select more countries, you see that it's immediately will change the possibilities you have with the green buttons. So it will give you an idea. Oh, maybe I haven't think about this dog, or maybe I haven't think about going to Finland or something else. So the system would like to give you new opportunities to think about. So it don't say the first dog is always the best. No, the green dogs, that are the best according to the kinship. Orange, quite okay, but it won't improve. So preferable, we would like to breed with the green animals. And then, of course, with all the tests done. Now I have to go for another one. Or maybe you have an example you want to share with me?
Maybe I have one question from before. When you showed the test matings of the dogs, because they were quite relative between each other. I think through the pedigree they were very close to each other. So how much is important? It was with the
when I take this one.
The green, the only one, the green. No, I don't know.
This one?
Yeah, maybe.
Heidi and
Amir. Yes.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's quite funny because when it's we always have the 3-generation rule. That's international. You can't make combinations who are not according to 3-generation rules. And now maybe it seems like these dogs are quite related, but that's based on pedigree. And now both dogs are genotyped, so maybe they are not related on genotyping as you think they are. So that's why the system says, when you think about the first pictures I'll show you of the chromosome of the 38 chromosomes of the dog. So Fit2Breed is looking for the heterozygous regions. So maybe these dogs are on pedigree rather related, but the kinship, so the diversity in these dogs, can be suitable to breed with. And that's the big difference, and sometimes also hard to understand, because when you're only looking based on pedigrees, maybe you will never make this combination anyhow, because you say it's too related. But when you look for the kinship, it is suitable. And we can't see that from a pedigree program like Zooeasy or Breedersoft, or maybe your own pedigree program. Then you will never make this combination. But when you see it on genotyping, yeah, maybe it's an idea to make the combination. So it's a very different way of think about breeding. And you are going to test and to genotype your dogs to see what the diversity is in your breed, and see how you can use it to still keep a Kooikerhondje, and not thinking of outcross immediately. The other way around is that we have such a high inbreeding percentage in our Kooikerhondje that probably in the future we have to think about it, but then we can see it in a genetical way. And choose also maybe outcross dogs on genetical base.
Okay, and one more question is to do the diagram on the down on this page.
With this dog, or should I take another one?
Yeah, on this combination.
This combination, yeah.
Yeah. If we have not the colors, squares and circles up, yes, this one. Yeah, the squares and circles.
This one.
Yeah. And we can see now how many same ancestors they have.
Yeah.
Is there any risks through the health if they have too many same circles in green or?
We would like to have the first 3 generations, like this is 1, 2, and 3. We would like to have the first 3 generations with whites. In this combination, you don't see it, but that's the same explanation as before. We see Laika Bloss-Corden is on the male and on the female side. But we also know that when we look at genetical base, that you don't get exact 50% from your father and your mother. So maybe there are the same names, but they don't have exact 50% given to the offsprings. So that's the reason why you sometimes see here the same ancestor. And that's the hardest thing to understand of this program, because when you look at inbreeding coefficient, you might say, no, this is not good, I'm not going to do it. But when you do the genetic coefficient of inbreeding, you will pick out the different genes.
Okay, and
we can make another, I have another example, or maybe you have one you really would like to have. I have prepared some, but I can also do it on demand, what you like.
Yeah, maybe I have a very, maybe it's different now, but a few weeks ago, yeah, it's Serenity Hill Bellatrix, I think. It's Bellatrix.
Bellatrix, yeah.
Bellatrix. It's written together. No, together. No, yes.
Bellatrix, this one?
Yeah. And I have in the front line, I had there a lot of dogs which were very close in pedigrees. Sometimes they were very good in pedigrees, and I was wondering if I should care about it because of health, not because of pedigree or something like that.
Yeah.
But if there are any risks from if some of the ancestors were sick.
Okay.
Yeah.
See what we are going to see what the system is telling about her. And we see the summary page. We see she's at 7 offsprings. We see her health results. Now we see 1, 2, 3, almost 3, but diesel is, as you know, a lot in our population. So it's really hard to have a pedigree without color, because all our Kooikerhondjes are really related. That's the problem in our breed. And then we see she is from geometric diversity. She is here. So it says she is more diverse. This is good, but it doesn't mean that when you have a dog who is in here or in here, that it's better or worse. And so she has a low coefficient of inbreeding herself, 34 by pedigree, and with the genetic, she is in here. But this also, maybe there are not so many offsprings from her, or maybe relatives from her are genotyped already. How old was she? No, she's quite in a good age. So this is nice to know, but the system is going to look when you go to breeding. And we go to only Czechian dogs in the beginning.
Maybe you can try the second one, because he's more relative in pedigree. The second one, Aragorn.
This one. Okay. Yeah. Then we go to test mating, check what it is. And based on kinship, the system said this could be a good combination. For Willebrand, might be not. And they say it has a higher kinship than the breed average. So this means that it's green for your dog, but the kinship is a little bit higher than the average. So that means your dog is really related. When you're only looking to Czechian dogs, this dog is really related to a lot of other Czechian dogs. And that is what I try to explain, that it's really important to have no selection on, or maybe only selections from your the country you would like to travel, to see if it's possible to find another one. And now I got a Finnish one, just for see the difference. Then you see that the warning with higher kinship is gone. So because you choose, you would like to have a Czechish dog, you choose it in breeding, you select only Czechish dogs. It gives you also the information that your dog is rather related, has lots of relatedness with all the Czechian dogs in this system. And that's why it's really important that we have other options to think about. I don't say that you have to do it, but it's options to think about. And then you can see here, 1, 2, 3, 4 generations without any common ancestors. So, and when you have not so many common ancestors, that's always better to prevent hereditary diseases and other things. So this gives you, the system gives you an idea how to think about breeding and how to maybe reconsider different options for your female. So this is a little bit how the system works. Go back to breeding. Which country do you want to travel, for example? What's Croatia?
Okay.
Like up to Finland.
Finland, and maybe Germany, or what's
Norway?
Norway.
I would like to go to Norway, but the dogs are not yet. I'm waiting for them.
See what is in here. So when you make a selection of it, you see a lot of Finnish dogs are probably suitable for your bitch. And maybe there's a Norwegian. A lot of Finnish, I see here. Yeah, that's funny. And these dogs, they don't give me a Norwegian. No.
Yeah, they don't have anyone.
Oh, they don't have it at the moment. They have the dogs in Norway, but maybe not suitable for your bitch. No genotype. They don't have genotype. No. Okay. So maybe we look in the Netherlands. if there are some dogs. Yeah. And sometimes you also see a lot of, for example, this dog.
This one is very, it's very cute. Yeah, because with him we have a lot of common ancestors.
Yeah.
He was one of the top dogs in.
Yeah, and now we see he has a lot of offsprings as an example. So maybe when you only look at kinship, it will be suitable for this Bellatrix. But maybe when you look at this, okay, it's good for the kinship, but maybe it's better to choose another one. And when we look at here, 1, 2, in the 3rd generation, we see Cooper again, and in the 4th generation, we see a lot. So based on kinship, it should be suitable, but it gives you a lot of other options to think about if you want to have him in your breed again. So this system gives you opportunities, but also I prefer no selection, but also a lot of things you have to think about yourself. And maybe in the future we say we have to limit we have to limit the amount of offsprings we have, or we have to limit that only the dogs who are the kinship is a little bit lower, but not the average. We have to make the orange one, we have to make red. But the system is made now that when we put this all out, we throw away a lot of diversity. So we don't want to do that. And the system is, when we are working with it, maybe we say, oh, we don't want to have males with more than 20 or 30 offsprings. But we also have to be realistic, because we are very glad that there are still people who wants to do all the tests with the male dogs, and we can't reach every dog, but we want to stimulate to use as much as breeding animals as possible. That's the main goal of it.
Okay, thank you. I think for me it's okay.
Yeah. Is there Bellatrix? And I was Heidi.
We have one more question from Ivo.
Yeah, in the chat. Yeah, chat. Yeah.
In the chat. I don't see the question. Oh, maybe I hear.
Why was there a high kinship than average for a dog shown as green in Fit2Breed?
Yeah, I can imagine that it is that's strange, because that's not what we want to have. And that's because the higher kinship we has as 0.33, that's based on pedigree. But maybe the genetic coefficient of inbreeding, that's more variable, because that's based on another reference population. That's based on only the genetic dogs in the database. So this is true, and we are still thinking of, maybe we have to, now we compare two things. The kinship, the average kinship is 0.33, but the genetic kinship might be a little bit higher. But we also don't want to encourage people that the kinship is much higher as we think it is. Is that an answer on the question?
Yes, but
okay.
people.
Oh yes, thank you.
Yeah. Okay, you're welcome. Is there another dog you want to see? You can also write down it in the. I put this one up. Okay. When we see this dog, we see also this number is based on pedigree, but maybe when we do the genotyping with this dog, based on what we see here, it might be very different. So maybe it's interesting to see, oh, it's 35, so it's more than the average. But maybe when we do the genetic coefficient of inbreeding, it would be nice to see if she is also in here, she would be around here. But maybe the genetic is not really 0.33. So this was another example I discovered when I was working with the Czech dogs. See what's coming out. You see, she is not genotyped. So then the system is going to the pedigree matchmaking immediately. And that's, of course, then you will have a lot of dogs because my screen is a little bit small. Then you will have just a lot of dogs because it's only based on pedigree. So that's the reason we prefer genotype matchmaking, because now you will have all the brothers and sisters in this litter, and that's not it's not possible to have them all be tested. Okay, she's a female for 3 years. She don't have offsprings, and we see here that she is tested. She's heterozygous for polymyositis. Here she said there's only dental elements missing, but we know that's only based on the information we have from Zooeasy. So if you see such a remark, don't be afraid of it, but ask the breeder, oh, what's the problem? Is it only 1P1 or 1P2? Then it's not a problem at all. We see here also that she don't have so many common ancestors, so that should be nice. She is in here. And if we go to the breeding, system has to think. Here is a warning. If you have a potential breeding animal for polymyositis, potential breeding animal, polymyositis testing is advised. That's always when you use a heterozygous dog. So don't be afraid of that. And now we see here is a German dog, there's a Dutch one, a Swedish one. So when we take for example this Dutch one, you can go to test mating, and we see one of the dog has dental abnormality, but it's allowed to be bred. So you see if it's really that it's a biting problem, like it's overbite or underbite, that kind of dental abnormality will be replaced in here. So this is only dental element missing. So for breeding, for healthy breeding, we say it's allowed to be bred. The dog won't have problems with that. And we see low risks in here. And we see pedigree chart with 1, 2, only in the 3, you see only here, only Casper in here. But that's also, normally you say we want to have 3 in white, but we know Casper, he's really in a lot of pedigrees, and maybe you don't give exact 50% to his offspring. So when the system is saying, okay, it's good, you can choose it. Okay, now we go back. Maybe we can see what kind of Czechian dogs there are recommended for her. Okay, and now we see there's only 1 male in here. Oh, that was the one we just already have. That's a higher and then the average potential. Yeah, and we see here 1, 2, 3. Only here we see a little white dog. Yeah. Any questions about this one? No. Okay.
No, thank you very much.
Any other? Oh, Bella Sophie, Golden Cyrus. Okay, we have Bella Sophie in here. She's 6 years. She has 8 offsprings and she is tested. Click this away. Okay, she is tested, homozygous. We see a lot of white in here. We see that she is genotyped. She's genotype. She's in here. And we see she has some offsprings. Now I would like to know her breeding recommendations. And now we see one Czechian male. So when you see there is only one or maybe several who are green, that's quite normal. I have the same when we do it in Denmark. I have done this presentation in Denmark. When we take the Danish dogs, then it's quite normal that when you select only Danish dogs, that you don't have a long list with potential breeding animals, because a lot of countries, they bred in their own country. People choose their males who are living in their own country. So then you see that you don't have a big list. So we only have one here. And when we go to chest mating, we see here, no, here's a low risk for polymyositis. The eyes and the patella, we don't know. So this is also here what we see. 1, 2, 3. We have here, we have Manusia Silalika. Yeah. So this is how you can use the system. And when I put the selection out, you probably will see more options. Yeah, you see more options. So maybe it will give you other ideas how to think about finding a male for your dog. Okay, other dogs, maybe in the chat. Received. Oh, I see there's a question about MBAC genotyping results on the 10th of February, but they are not visible in Fit2Breed. I have to check the date for Fit2Breed. SNP profile was 12 February. Maybe normally the MBAC data, when you fill in the form for sharing information from the expertise center from Utrecht, maybe it's just in between because it's 2 days in between. Normally it have to be in here, and I think with your dog maybe you can put the name of your dog in here. I will check it with the expertise center. But if you have asked for the MBAC test by the University Utrecht, then the data will be automatically updated in Fit2Breed. But maybe MBAC is sometimes a little bit slow with sending the raw data to Utrecht. So maybe there's a little gap in between. But normally it will be automatically updated. And VHL results will be updated. No, both of them will be updated, but you have to fill in the form to share the information. If you don't give the informed consent, it's not possible. And then you can also share if you forgot it, you can share the information afterwards, but then it takes a little bit longer. Does everybody know where we can find the forms for sharing the information? Or do I have to show that, maybe?
I think we know this
Yeah.
document because we usually do the group testing in our club shows.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay. We do it in group, but Joanna is from Poland, so maybe I don't know if she did the agreement for sharing.
Okay.
For Fit2Breed.
Okay, I will stop sharing and go back to the other one again. because if share my screen, yeah. If you need any help, you can contact the Fit2Breed team. So if you think with the next upgrade, you say, my information is still not in Fit2Breed, you can send an email to contact@fit2breed.nl. And then Lieke, she's here in the picture. Lieke is our data specialist, and Lieke will check, and she do the checks for all the data. And if she don't have the informed consent from Joanna, Lieke will send it. So please note that you can ask information here. If you want to have specific information about the working with the system, like we have done now, but you want to have it for your specific dog, you can also send an email to me, and we can do a short Zoom meeting on demand, so we can explain things in the system. So that are your helping hands. And on the pictures below, you see here Hille Vieten. She is the director of the Expertise Center, and she's the brain from the Expertise Center. And she's working with the other specialists. I think maybe you know Peter Leegwater. He was involved with the Van Willebrand and the E&M research. And also Paul Mandiges, he is working on the polymyositis research, also involved with the new testing. And he's working on the new test for polymyositis with the second mutation. So the polymyositis research will go on. And if there is any news from this, we will let you know to the breeding clubs, of course. And the polymyositis test results will be visible in Fit2Breed, because this is a polygenetic disease, and it's really hard to make the good breeding calculations without a system, because the Fit2Breed system is looking into the genes, and then you can see if you have a high risk or low risk. So that's the reason why we don't put that results in Zooeasy. Okay. And I think with all this information, I think it's a lot of news. I think we're running out of time, probably. I can tell you a lot of things more if necessary. So please let me know if there are any questions. Then I can answer it. I see one in the chat. Thanks. Okay.
Maybe I have one question about the disease. I don't know how to say it. Sometimes the eye examination is missing in Fit2Breed. Should we do something about it? Or because we know the dogs have the examination.
Okay.
Sometimes it's missing.
And do you do you know if because the eye examinations will be in the system out of Zooeasy, is it then also missing in Zooeasy?
I don't know. I need to check this, because
okay. If you want
companies like you, we need to have repeatedly the eye examination. So we do it, and sometimes the dogs are examined, but in the Fit2Breed is not felt. So maybe I should check it, and let you know.
The update from Zooeasy is only twice a year. That's not so much. So that's the phenotyping, that's twice a year. We would like to have that more often. So if you want to breed with your female and you have a recent eye examination, you can also send us a scan to clubregister@kooikerhondje.nl. And we put it immediately into Zooeasy, and we will try to have a phenotyping update 4 times a year. But we're still working on it, how to process that in a better way. But the good thing of the system is when it is as updated as possible, of course. That's the profit of the system. And it will be more valuable when there are more dog genotyping in the future. So see it as a helping tool for looking different to breeding, and also looking different from testing the animals. We have to use as much possible animals as we have in the population, and we have to prevent from disease and not only acting on disease. I think that's the most important to remember. And test for use dogs and not for exclude dogs. Okay, any other questions for the moment? Let's see if I can look in the chat. No, not at the moment. Okay, then I will thank you very much for the invitation. I hope it was clear. It's really a difficult topic to explain. Also because you need a little bit of genetic knowledge. But I hope it was what you prefer to hear.
Yeah, it was great, Esther. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Really,
You're welcome.
thank you.
And if there are any questions, don't hesitate to ask again.
Thank you very much. It was very helpful.
Okay, bye-bye. Then I see you probably next time.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Esther.
Okay.
Have a nice evening.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you very much.